Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kim Santos if you're new, and also if you're new, hit the subscribe button. So today on my channel, I'm going to be doing a foundation review. I'm going to be reviewing the new Huda Beauty Faux Filter foundation. With that being said, I'm going to be reviewing this foundation, but as well, I'm going to be comparing it with the Fenty Pro Filter foundation by Rihanna. So these two foundations have had a little beef with each other. When Huda Beauty announced that she was going to be having her own foundation line and she was going to be releasing 30 shades of her foundation, a lot of people were going after her because they were talking shit saying, girl, Fenty Beauty, you're just copying them. They're coming out with the darkest shades, the lightest shades ever, and are really including everyone, and you're just trying to hop on that wagon. Both of these foundations are supposed to be a liquid to powder foundation. They're supposed to be matte and give you that appearance of like a filter, very soft, subtle, and just make your skin look better with that filter. Huda Beauty, she's been working on this foundation for 2 years, and Rihanna's been working on her line for 4 years. So even if she really did want to copy her, she would have had to know before then, and I doubt that they talk to each other and call each other up saying, hey girl, like what's your foundation? You know, can I know the formula? They probably didn't know that they were both coming out with foundations. But I do think it's weird how both of these foundations have the name Filt'R in them, and they're supposed to give you the same results. In regards of color, both of these foundations have a pretty good color range for their first initial launch. The Fenty Beauty foundation has 40 shades in the line, and the Huda Beauty has 30, so 10 less. They're spread out as evenly as they could be. Obviously, I think both of the brands are interested in adding more foundation shades. And not to be like, you know, a little shady or whatever, the people who are kind of giving Huda Beauty shit for copying Fenty Beauty, saying how they're only copying them for 40 shades, I think that's kind of like a stupid, irrelevant topic because that's a really good thing. A lot of brands should be copying Fenty, if anything, now. You can't release a foundation without including a good broad spectrum of colors. You should have an array that people can have a little bit of choice and they can kind of find something similar to them. It shouldn't be 30 light foundations and then 10 medium and then maybe 1 dark. That's not even dark at all. It's just, it looks like me when I'm tan. That's not right. You need to have something from the darkest of the dark to the fairest of the fair. We should be pushing brands to come out with 30, 40 foundation shades, even 50, 100, I don't know, but just carrying more shades for everyone. So I think the fact that people were saying that was garbage. But I will say, however, I think Huda Beauty made like a comment about Fenty Beauty when they initially launched too. So you know what I mean? I don't get it. Why does brands fight with each other? Like, make friends. And even if you don't want to make friends, be professional, you know? I have more respect for a brand if they're like cool, classy, they're a fun brand, they support one each other. It makes me feel like if you're acting ethical with other brands, then you're acting ethical with your makeup and your practices. I don't know, that's just my little rant and my opinion on here. You know, a little drama for your mama. So now I'm going to be applying both of these foundations. I'm going to be doing them in very similar ways, show you what it looks like up close, comparing the two, the differences, what I like about one, what I don't like about the other. And I'm going to wear this foundation throughout the day, probably for 7 to 8 hours. And then I will come back to show you what they both look like and then have my kind of final verdict on which foundation I personally think is better. So now that I've got all that out of the way, I'm going to start doing my foundation now. So if you buy the Huda Beauty foundation right now, like as soon as it came out, I don't know if this is going to continue, but when you buy the foundation, in the box as well, there's a little sample of the primer that it was designed with. Honey, oh, it's stuck. I thought it was like instructions or something, but it's actually a little sample of the primer, so that's really cool. For this review, I'm not going to be using the primer because I don't think it's fair to use the foundation that corresponds with the primer when I'm testing and comparing these two. I'm sure that this primer is designed to go very well with this one, but the thing is, I'm probably not going to buy the primer. You know, I have my primers that I really enjoy, and I'm sure you guys do too. I'm more about trying out the foundation, and if a foundation can work with a lot of different primers, you know it's good. Plus, I don't think it would be fair to the Fenty foundation since I'm not using its corresponding primer, or I would be using the Huda Beauty one. Who knows if it would work well with that one. But the primer I'm going to be using underneath is, it's new. I've used it a couple times. It's very expensive. It's lots of monies that I used with the coupon at Sephora. I got 20% off. A friend helped me out. And the one I'm talking about is the YSL Touche Eclat. So it is the Touche Eclat Blur Primer. So this primer is meant to blur and illuminate. It has like some gold flecks in it, which really doesn't bother me because like I like to shimmer. And you don't see it very much under your skin. So I've zoomed you in. I already did my eye makeup today and I don't know, I kind of like how it turned out, I kind of don't. Anyways, so I'm going to start to put the primer on. I have like some major scarage and like zits over here that I picked at because I'm impatient. And I have some like acne, little scarring over here. It's not that bad, But who cares? Even if it was bad, you know what? We all get nasty stuff on our face that we don't like. There's nothing I can do about it. So I guess my skin will be helpful in trying on this foundation because you'll get to see how it works with dry patches, like these acne scars that are still healing. Also texture, so we'll see how it really does cover, and also the redness too. So now that I prime my face with my YSL primer, we're gonna start doing the foundation. This side where I have this really big acne scar, I'm gonna put my Huda Beauty foundation. And this side where I have some scars right here is gonna be the Fenty side, just because I think this is like a bigger patch to cover up. I know how my Fenty foundation works. I like it. It covers up pretty well as it can when I have these texture and these scars, but I really want to test out how it's gonna compare. So, Huda Beauty, Fenty. Let's start the foundation review. I'm just putting it on. If you haven't watched a Fenty makeup review already, you know. Everyone says it's a very liquidy formula, and it is, and it dries down pretty quick. You gotta work well and fast. I like to put it on and then I'll quickly go in and spread it. I'm also using my shade 260 in this foundation. I hate getting like right here in these crevices. It's always so hard. Okay, so this is the Fenty foundation applied, comparing to nothing on this side of my face. Obviously, it covers up pretty good, pretty smooth, very matte. I don't know if you can see that, but I had like some acne over there, so it didn't completely cover that spot, but usually I would go back with concealer and then it would be covered. Usually right on top of the apples of my cheeks right here, it's a little bit red, so it's kind of always hard to conceal that with foundation. I usually have to go with a little bit extra and then it'll be completely gone. Under my chin too, I have an acne scar right here. It's not completely covered as well. When it dries down, it's not a sticky formula. The coverage is definitely there. It's medium to full coverage, and I like my foundations with this much coverage. I get my coverage, but I don't want to be too thick and cakey because I know I'm gonna go back with concealers and cream contour, so it's just gonna be too heavy and too much. I still want my skin to look like skin, you know? So now we're gonna try out the Huda Beauty foundation, the Faux Filter on this side. So before I actually use my Huda Beauty, I'm gonna clean off my foundation brush so we don't mix up the two foundations. I'm gonna do my best. I don't wanna use like a different tool or a different brush because I really wanna see the results of these foundations. I'm just gonna clean it off the best I can. What if the Huda Beauty foundation applies worse with a beauty blender or a different foundation brush? I just wanna keep everything very uniform. So I'm trying out the Huda Beauty foundation in the color 250 Cheesecake. I must say, I really like how Huda Beauty named all the foundations after like sweets and like food stuff. I'm just pumping it on. It's definitely not as liquidy as the Fenty Beauty one. It's more creamy, if that makes sense. It's more like a cream. This color looks a little bit lighter than the Fenty one did. And now just noticing as I'm putting this on, the Huda Beauty foundation is heavily fragranced. Like I haven't smelled a foundation like this in a while. It's not a bad smell. It smells like it smells like something Chanel or like Dior would put in their foundations. But this one's really intense. So you're probably not gonna like this foundation if you hate scents or you're very like sensitive to them. That's just something to keep in mind. The color definitely looks lighter on me. Like, do you see that? I wanted to get a shade darker or 2 shades darker, but the foundation sold out online and I was like, maybe like this would be a good one for the winter, like who knows? So it looks like it's kind of getting darker gradually. Like the more I blend it, the more time it sits on my skin. Oh, I'm getting my earrings all dirty. It does look lighter, but it doesn't look as light as it did like 30 to a minute ago. So as I said, this is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter side, and this is the Fenty Pro Filter side. See, isn't that weird? The names are really similar. So the Huda Beauty one is giving me good coverage as well. It's pretty smooth as well. As you guys saw before, I had that really big like acne spot, and it's pretty well covered. I used 1 pump for this side of my face. You know, and this was really red and there was like a lot of like dryness there. It doesn't look as bad as I thought it was gonna get just because it's been really hard to cover up that area for the last couple of days. And also I think it's important to note that this one is giving me more coverage than the Fenty one. Like I said before, I get a little bit more red on the center of my cheeks right here. And I feel like I wouldn't have to go back in with another pump versus the Fenty one. You can just see a little bit more of that redness coming through. They both feel comfortable on my face. I don't feel like I'm wearing a lot of makeup. I just have my foundation on, my regular makeup routine. So far, this is what it looks like on my skin. I'm gonna finish my makeup, do the rest of my eyes, put some concealer. I'm gonna do that and I will be back. So I thought I would show you how contouring is going. I'm just using my Catrice contour stick, something light, punching my face, and then I'm gonna do the Huda side. So what I'm noticing already with this side, like it's taking me less time to blend the contour out on this side than it is the Fenty. This is probably because it's more moisturizing, it's more dewy, so other creams you're gonna put on top of it's just gonna like blend out better. This one took a little bit more time. Here, I'll show you with my forehead. Out. The Fenty side I'm blending out right now on my forehead. Just don't want it to be too balance it out. Okay, now I'm blending out the Huda Beauty side. Do you see how that just like went like that? Like it took no time to blend at all. It's probably because this foundation is more wet than the Fenty one because it's more powdery, dry. If that makes sense. I just wanted to show you that, how it blends with other makeup on skin, just so you could get a little taste of that. So this is the final result. I've done all my makeup. So far, in my opinion, these foundations are pretty similar. The only difference right now is the Fenty side is a little bit more dry. It's more powdery. I feel like if you like oily skin, you're gonna like the Fenty foundation, maybe a little bit better. I don't know, but looking in the mirror, I feel like the Huda Beauty side looks a little bit smoother, more lighter to my complexion. I don't know, I feel like it's complementing my skin just a little bit more. They're pretty similar. In my opinion, I just feel like the Huda Beauty side, it covered up my acne scars better than the Fenty did. But what I'm gonna do now is wear this foundation throughout the day. I'm gonna see how it wears, see if there's any differences, how they look throughout the hours, if I'm eating, talking, swimming, I don't know. Whatever I'm doing throughout the day, I'm just gonna go about my normal routine, and by the end of the day, I will be back and I will show you what the foundations look like and how they compared. So right now it is 1:30 in the afternoon. So maybe, I think the latest, I think maybe around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I'll be back just to show you how it wore for those 8-9 hours. So it is currently 8:30 right now. So it's been 7-8 hours. I forget what time I started at. But I personally think they look very similar. I asked my mom and she said the Huda Beauty foundation side, like this side of my face, it looks, in person, it looked a little bit more full coverage, but it was starting to get cakey around the nose, which happens a lot of times with foundations. I went outside, I was sweating a little bit because it was really hot out today. I did get sweaty, but my face, like the foundation stayed pretty well. Both sides obviously do not look as matte as they did when I first applied it, but for a matte foundation, it's still pretty good. It's not as oily as I thought it would be, or like, not even oily, it's not as cakey as I thought it would be. It didn't break up as much, like it's pretty damn good. This is my face up close. I will say the coverage on the Huda Beauty one is still better than the Fenty one. It's probably just a thicker foundation. You can see my acne spots. Like this one over here, obviously you see a little bit of that, but it's not as intense as this one. So you can see like the redness on the side of my nose, like a little bit of cakiness, but it's not that bad. Versus the Huda Beauty one, like there's no redness, it's still pretty covered up, but I feel like this side is still cakier, like it bunched up more. The Fenty one picks up more on product, like powder, cream product after you apply it, versus the Huda one, it blended out a little bit better. It didn't cling to the product more than the Fenty one did, if that makes sense. I really do love both foundations and they're still making my skin feel smooth, soft. The coverage is there. I think cakiness wise, the Huda Beauty one got a little bit more cakier than the Fenty side, but to be fair, it still looks pretty good. It's not like dramatic, like holy shit, you look like you put on 10 pounds of makeup and then you jumped into the pool and then that cake is just sweaty and gross and both of these foundations will be really good for oily skin. If you have dry skin, I would recommend the Huda Beauty one a little bit more because it has more of a moisturizing, creamier property than the Fenty one, just because it's a little bit more of a powdery finish. I think I've said that 100 times in this video, but I'm getting the point across. So honestly, it comes down to how much you want to spend and what your skin type is. And you know, you can always just try it out, and if you don't like it, you can return it or just get a little sample. I hope you enjoy this comparison between these two foundations. You'll have a little bit of drama with each other, but you know what? They're pretty good. They're both pretty good. You know, if I'm gonna spend like 50, 40 bucks on a foundation, it better work, because if not, You're going back on the shelf. It's not happening. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe this guided you to which foundation you wanted or thoughts about either brand. So like always, guys, sub it if you love it. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. I get more foundation in my hair than on my face, probably. Minimizing skin radiant. Maximizing. That's the way, I like it, In my face, See, I got a really pale neck. Let's see how it matches. This is the Fenty side. That's the same shit, let's be honest here. Oh, look at me trying to be like Francais. All messed up over here. Ritzia, why are you doing me wrong? So I need to take off this makeup because I've been wearing it for like 8 hours now, and I really want to slip into my glasses and put a face mask on. Take care.